So my hope today is I can share with you a little bit more about how you can import your assets into Asset Panda in a very seamless and efficient way, so it doesn't seem as overwhelming as it may initially appear. So as you are looking at my screen right here, this is the 2.0 platform. So you will see that we do have this organization. This is my organization, and we do have a bunch of different accounts that rest underneath this organization. This is our multi-tenancy, which we're very happy to have rolled out based upon the feedback of our 1.0 clients and also clients that are coming into us. So we'll be taking a look today at our PandaWare account and more specifically over into this ITAM module. Now, just as a quick refresher, these modules here are like mini instances of Asset Panda. So it makes it a very easy way for you to organize your data and manage people, locations, in this case, facilities and ITAM, while keeping that control and security that you require for your organization. So when we click on this ITAM module, you're going to be presented here with our collections on the left-hand side and our assets. So this assets collection is really where every single one of the assets that we want to track are going to live. Think of the collections as like a bucket or just a data point, right? And within these buckets in this assets collection, you'll see across the top the different data points that we need to have associated with each one of these assets. Now, you can have as many of these fields as you want to scrolling across. So whatever it is that you need to track within Asset Panda on these particular assets, you can go ahead and add into as a field. Now, like I said before, you might have 50 assets, you might have 100 assets, you might have 5,000 assets that you need to get into Asset Panda. And we have three ways of making it easy for you to enter in the information that you need. The first way you can enter in is sort of the non-sexy way. I like to say it that way. When you can come in, you can click this add button. And this is going to be just adding a single asset as maybe an organization admin, account admin, or module admin. And you'll be greeted with this sort of record here. And you can select your categories. You'll see that we have different serialized categories, which is part of our asset collection. And for example, if I want to say I'm going to be adding in a Windows laptop, one thing that you'll notice is right down here, these fields are dynamic. So we have a computer brand field that is dynamic and linked directly to Windows laptop. So you'll get to see all of the computer brands that are associated with this category. If I decided that I wanted to choose an iPad, you're going to now see that computer brand field goes away, and now we're just greeted with maybe just a model number. So today we're just going to say I have a Windows laptop. I'm going to select that it is available, and the location we're going to select as New York. Now, all these fields that you see here, especially the location, is linked to a location collection. So we know where everything is. So we're going to say maybe this is an HP. We'll put in an asset tag, which with this little star you'll see is mandatory. You can also scan this information in as well. We can put some sort of naming culture to this, so HP002. And then any of the other information that you need to add in here, you can. We do have depreciation values that you can put in so you can see that. So this is going to be one way to get a single asset in. And like I said, this is the non-sexy way. We also have something called smart forms. Now, smart forms are a nicer version of getting an asset into the system that you can give access to maybe an end user, because you do not want to give the king the keys to the castle to everybody, right? You want to make sure that certain people have access, and maybe some of the end users only have access to this add new asset form. But you can see how much prettier this looks, than when you're into that asset collection. And it works very much the same. So, we want to select maybe a MacBook this time. Now you'll see that the MacBook device type is now specific to this category and not over as a Windows computer. So we'll say maybe this is a Pro M1. We'll make this Mac 005, a model book, serial numbers. So all this information would need to be added in, especially if you have this little star here. And we'll say that this today is over in our London facility. And adding all this information in, acquisition dates. So as you can see, this makes it a much easier way for you to add in an asset. And so when we submit that, and we come back over to our assets collection, you're going to see that MacBook has been added in here. And if you did need to come in and change any information or add any information that may not have been on that form, you can go ahead and click on that and add in any of the information. Maybe we put in a warranty expiration date so you can start tracking that. And then that's how you're going to really be able to add, I would say, one, maybe two assets, three assets at a time. Now, let's just say that you have multiple assets. You've got 100, 500, 1,000 assets that live in an Excel spreadsheet because you've been using Excel for a while, and now you're upgrading to a more robust service. We make that very streamlined for you, being able to import an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV file. We do not require you to use a template. You can use the current Excel spreadsheet that you have. So if we look at like an import workbook here, you'll see that these are all the separate tabs in my Excel spreadsheet. I want to import just my assets. And when we click confirm, you'll see your header rows across the top. Now, these do not need to necessarily associate directly with an Asset Panda field that you'll set up because you can associate them on the next page with the mapping. So even if you don't have asset tag directly and you just have tag, you'll be able to say asset tag. Now, one thing that I really love about Asset Panda and about this import tool is sometimes the formatting doesn't work exactly the same as we would want to see it in Asset Panda. As you can see here, this acquisition date, the year is wrong. So instead of having to cancel out of this import, go back into my Excel spreadsheet, fix that, and then come back in and try to re-import, we have this nifty new feature where you can just fix all formatting errors. And then now you're going to see how that date field has been corrected. And then you can go ahead and import all of this data. And all of that will wind up being imported into your assets collection here. Now, when we look at the assets collection, there is a lot of information in here on different categories, statuses, locations, brands. I mean, it gets to be sometimes a little overwhelming when you're trying to look for one or two specific pieces or a category. So, Kelly, question. If I need to quickly access data in a view, how would I find maybe all of my available MacBooks within this asset collection?
That is a fantastic question and one that we probably hear almost every day because you're right, lots of information. We want to be able to filter this information in a variety of ways. So do you mind if I steal the screen share just a bit?
You're more than welcome to.
All right, awesome. And one of the things that, if you've been using the 1.0 platform, then you know that we have the ability to, do you mind canceling your share out? This way I can, oh, there we go. I got my button. Never mind, I'm good. If you've been using the 1.0 platform, you know that we have had the capability of being able to create pin filters and sort and filter and search and do all those things in Asset Panda 1.0. In our 2.0 platform, we've taken that ability and then we've enhanced that ability quite a bit. So I'm really excited to be able to show you this. Now, if you take a look at my instance, I'm in my company 3. This is my ITAM module. I have my collections on the side, and you see my save views over here on the left-hand side. So save views are basically your new pin filters if you're coming from one. Now, one of the things that we can do is still continue to search. And I love our search because we give you two options with search. First one is on the current page. So if I wanted to do that partial search for an asset with maybe the number 123 in it, I can search this page with that 123. And we notice I don't have anything that pops up with that. Will give me something maybe just a little bit easier to find here. There we go. We got a 1-2. Now, I also have the ability to do a global search, and I love global search because now I'm searching every one of my accounts, modules, collections across the entire organization. So just to kind of refresh our memories a little bit, this is my organization. Within my organization, I have multiple accounts. In each account, I have multiple modules. Each of these modules have collections and assets and different things within them. So when I start looking at, all of this information across the board, I may want to actually do a search for asset 12 across the entire organization. And I can do that here in Asset Panda 2.0. So now I can see every time that 1-2 is mentioned, and it could be something like a date. Remember, I'm just looking across the board. Where do I have a 1-2? And we see I have lots and lots of assets popping up here, which now I can start to filter these. So I have that ability to match the entire field rather than do the partial search that I'm doing right now. I can filter, but in a variety of ways. I can choose different record types. I can choose to look in a specific account or module if I wanted to, or account if I really wanted to. So that is one way that I can really start to look at information and kind of discern what it is that I'm looking at. Now, in addition to that search, which I'm just going to go ahead and clear that out so we don't have anything affecting my current view here, I have these views again that I want to come back to, where I can save a particular view that I want to see in exactly that way. So maybe on Monday mornings, I come in every Monday morning and I want to see very specifically everything that costs $849 for whatever reason. I can come in here and I can choose to filter and I can find that particular field, which is going to be my purchase cost. And I can say that that is equal to, and those of you that have been around Asset Panda for a while are probably already jaw dropping because you're seeing all of these options I have to be able to filter and all these operators. So I can say that is now going to be equal to the exact value. Notice I have some options here as well. And I can put in that $849 here if I wanted to, and I can apply that particular filter. And now I'm seeing just those items. Now, one other thing I want to mention in filters, because again, this is something that my 1.0 folks are going to be like, what? Notice that I have this match all of these conditions. As we know in 1.0, we have always been limited by the and filter. Every time I filter and apply more than one filter, I'm always applying an and filter. In our 2.0 platform, I am able to do an and or filter. So I can choose to run all of these, match all of them, or match any of my filters that I put on here. So keep that in mind as well. That's another really nice enhancement that we have on the filter system. I'm going to go ahead and clear that real quick and show you a few other things up here. One is I can also sort by. So if I click on my sort by, I have the ability to sort by any of my fields, and I can sort in ascending or descending order. Now, again, we used to be able to do this in 1.0 as well, but what I can also then save that sorting as part of my save view. So that's another enhancement that we have. So I can apply both my filtering and my sorting, as well as grouping. And honestly, the group by, I absolutely love. I am no longer limited by which fields I can group by. So in Asset Panda 2.0, I can use any field and group by that. So if I really wanted to group by my purchase cost, for example, I could go ahead and apply that. And now I can see everything that costs $479.99 or my $849 or records that have that empty. So I now have more flexibility in those ability to group. Now, as I mentioned, I can save all of these by clicking this save view, and then I can name that view. So we'll just call it my test view for today, and I can go ahead and hit save. Now that is going to apply all of those filters, any of the groupings and sortings that I put on that particular view. And if I flip between my views, notice in my New York view, Looks very similar to what we saw originally. It's just filtered down by my New York location versus my test view, which is now going to be my very grouped view. So save views become a bit more robust here in this particular platform. The other thing I want to mention is that you have the ability to hide. So I'm going to go ahead and just clear those views out completely. And I also cleared all of my field management. Now, if I click on my eyeball here, I can turn off any field I don't want to see. Those of you coming from the 1.0 platform know that you are limited to 10 column headers. In 2.0, we have the ability to see all of the column headers. And you can scroll. You can scroll indefinitely across all of your headings in your collections that you want to see. But if you did want to change what you could see, if you wanted to reorder your fields, you can do all of that as well and see that reordering live right on your screen in front of you. So I love the some of that ability to kind of filter through data, sort through data a little bit more, really pare down what it is that I'm seeing on the screen and create all of these different saved views. In addition, these saved views now are owned by this particular user. And what I can do is share these with other users. So very similar to how pin filters work, I'm able to share out these views to my different permission sets. Now, one thing I think we touched on this a little bit, Matthew, I think you might have mentioned this earlier, but you have 4 different permission sets that are built right into the platform. So you're getting an org admin, account admin, module admin, 3 admin levels, and then one is your collaborator. And as Matthew mentioned earlier, your collaborator basically can view information and they can submit forms. So those forms become very important because they're very controlled changes. They're really allowing you to pare down what that person can do and what information they're able to submit. And in this case, we can choose to share a save view if we wanted to with any of those users based on their role that they have or the custom permission role if you created one, or you can share these with individual users as well. Now, one other thing that we can do with save views that I think is super important is that we can use them for reporting purposes. So I want you to think about this save view very much like a group report in our 1.0 platform. Anytime I create a save view, if I want to see assets in New York right now, I can go ahead and export that right here from my export button, which is kind of like your quick report. But I have a little more firepower with these as well in a couple different ways. So I can come up to dashboards first and foremost, and I can create a dashboard based off of my save view. So if you take a look here, I'm just going to hit this add widget. I've already created a dashboard, and I'm going to come into my chart, and I'm going to say I want to have maybe just a count. I just want to know how many assets I have in New York, for example. Now I can come here and I can say New York assets. And then notice I'm already in the specific account. I determined that when I created the dashboard itself. But when I come into my module, I want to say whether I'm working in my ITAM or facilities. For me, that's my ITAM module and my data source. Now I can come in here to my assets. So if I wanted to see all of my assets in one pie chart and each piece of the pie of my different locations, then that would be something that I would want to start with just my asset collection. But because I want to see just the information that I've already compiled in that save view for New York, I can come down to those save views. Oh, and I actually have the wrong account, but you get the gist of it. And I would actually click on one of those save views to be able to see that save view applying to this particular widget. And notice that I would get that total number here. So I would just go ahead and hit add, and then that puts the widget onto my dashboard. So knowing that I can use save views in my dashboarding as well, it's a great way to kind of utilize some of those already filtered down information pieces and also to create multiple dashboards as well for each of my different companies, my different modules, maybe my different locations. And these are also able to be shared the same way that we share a save view. Now, the last piece that I want to make sure that we touch on, and I'm going to go back to that company 3 school here, are automations, because automations can also use save views to automate those types of reports. So let's say every first of the month, you have somebody in your company that wants to know what assets are in New York today? Well, what I can do is I can come in here and I can create a New York automation. And I can say that I'm going to trigger this at a specific scheduled time. Now, notice that my automations, though, have a lot of flexibility. So if you're thinking about things like automated reports in 1.0 or notifications in 1.0, you're on the right track. Automations are replacing those two areas of the platform and kind of giving you a little more firepower back here as well. So in this case, we're just going to set this up at a scheduled time. And what we're going to say is using my assets collection, I could send that entire piece of information of everything in that assets collection, or I could utilize things like my integrations, if I had integrations and schedule certain pieces of information. But in this case, this is my daily interval. I'm sending this every 1 day during the New York time zone, starting on this particular date, never to end. And I can add additional conditions here as well. So if I really wanted to filter down and say, hey, I just want the location to be equal to New York, what that's going to do is at that scheduled time, it's going to match these conditions with the records that would match those conditions. And then I can say, I want to send that report. So I can do this a couple different ways. I can set that with the match conditions here, and that's coming out of my assets collection, and I'm sending that as an Excel, and I would type in the information. The other option I have is in report source. If I chose not to apply a condition, I could just come in here and grab my New York Save view. So I have two different ways that I can start to automate reporting information to go out from the platform in a very concise and clean way. Matthew, what did I miss? What did I miss? What have I not had a chance to mention here?
I think you actually covered it all. The saved view, I think, is really paramount to Asset Panda because it makes it so much easier to filter and quickly access the information that you need without having to go back into an asset collection or any collection and really reapply those filters over and over again.
Yeah, I love save views and I love automations. I feel like they really help streamline information. And my goodness, we just touched on one of these at the scheduled time, but think about even like whenever a form is submitted, I need to send pieces of information or because we talked about adding the new assets. I mean, these are types of automations I can have or those things like the notifications that you guys are used to seeing in the 1.0 platform, but I can even now update a field value based on that form that's been submitted. Every time a form is submitted, I want this to be assigned to Bob. Can automatically happen every single time through those automations. So lots of ways to start to streamline process with some of these new features. And we actually had a question that popped up, and we've had a couple of people ask already, how do we how do we get in contact for someone about 2.0 if this is something that we're interested in pursuing or getting a better look at? And I would say that you can always contact support at assetpanda.com. Our support team is able to connect you to your client director if need be. So that is definitely something that you can start there if you would like. Um, Obviously our support staff is more than capable of making sure that you can get to your client director. If you do know your client director though, and you've talked to them recently, you can always inquire with them as well. All right. Matthew, what else should we cover today for our friends here? We've covered that stuff pretty quickly today.
Yeah, I think we should open it up to some questions. This is a lot of information to get through. Some of it's brand new to some people that might be on the call today, or even people that are on 1.0 that would like to maybe migrate over to 2.0. So I know we've got a bunch of people on the call right now. Please don't hesitate to raise your hand, type it into the chat. Let's go over any questions you have because one of our main goals at Asset Panda is to really make you feel comfortable with this new platform that we rolled out because it is a game changer in an asset tracking software. If you look out in the wild, there's nobody else doing this. Asset Panda is really kind of redefining how we go ahead and track assets. So please raise your hand. Let's answer any questions that we have out there today.
Yeah, yeah. And oh, and we're talking about getting information into the system too. One thing that it is probably worth mentioning is integrations and APIs. So something else to keep in mind is that we do have the open API available to you in Asset Panda 2.0. So if you're using that in one, you do have capability here. But also we have the integration store. So this is also something that's a little bit different. And Matthew, again, I think you touched on this a little bit, but a little bit different in Asset Panda 2.0 is because you have this capability of having modules. And I like to think of each of these modules as its own instance of Asset Panda. So if you're a company that works with multiple other companies and they all have their own Asset Panda and you have like 5 logins now because you can log in all individual ones, we can eliminate that with Asset Panda 2.0 for you. And your integrations can be connected to each individual module. And we're able to connect the same integration to multiple modules or different integrations to each module. So if you have 5 different instances of Google Workspace, for example, they can all be connected to the individual 5 modules. Or if we all work out of one and we have different, organizational units within that integration, they can be connected to individual modules. So if we come into my integration store here and take a look, we have, handful of our most common integrations already available, including a new one with Lenovo. This is actually pulling warranty information from the Lenovo site down into Asset Panda. But you will see that we have some of our typical user management and device management integrations. And the integrations, once you add the integration, your setup is pretty easy. We've even streamlined that process as well with mapping from the integrations as well. Now, most of the integrations today are one way. There is functionality coming out with two-way integrations, and I believe Zendesk is already two-way integration.
Kelly, we do have one question. We got a bunch of questions, but how stable is Asset Panda 2.0 right now?
Oh, I think Asset Panda, I mean,
Very stable,
we call it
right?
stable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. I mean,
yeah.
I've been working with Asset Panda now for 2 months, and I have not had one issue with its stability. I actually, quite frankly, have seen the 1.0 platform, and it is stable as well. I think 2.0 is actually a little bit faster than 1.0 right now.
I would agree. I would agree. And I think, processes like imports, you're definitely going to see an improvement in things like reporting and imports. I believe we're a little faster than what we're doing in 1.0 today. We've tested millions of records on imports and have had good results with those. And as far as like testing 2.0 while using 1.0, absolutely. Again, that's just you can connect with your client director to get a trial of Asset Panda 2.0, and they can set you up with that trial and give you a chance to work around and maneuver around in there. And if you do need assistance from a solutions engineer, we're happy to get on a call with you as well from that perspective.
Trevor
There
asks if
is,
there's.
oh, go ahead. Yep, go
No, I was
for
gonna
it.
say, yeah, Trevor was asking if there's a defined outline, the differences between 1.0 and 2.0. Trevor, there is. We do have a PDF that we do use that I'd be more than happy to send over to you.
Awesome. Yep. And if I can, I will drop it in the chat here as well. Because I think I can link out to that and get that into the chat for you too. Some of the key differences, though, if we're talking about the platform, like the biggest one is that account differentiation, where you can have multiple accounts and multiple modules. We also have an offline mode available in the mobile app. So that's something else to keep in mind. We have the mobile app for 1.0. The mobile app for 2.0 is separate. It's a different app. If you go into the App Store, or your Google Play Store, and search Asset Panda, you're going to see two. One is the original, and the other one is Asset Panda 2.0. The mobile app for 2.0 has a capability of going into offline mode. And I know that's something that we don't have in the 1.0 that is a major differentiator as well, Trevor. Uh, to the Okta integration, is there an Okta integration in 2.0 right now? Not specifically an Okta integration, but we do have the SAML-based SSO. And yep, we got a few. It looks like we have a few more people looking for that PDF. Do you have that handy, Matthew, that maybe we can drop that in real quick?
Yeah, let me you answer a couple of those questions and I will
Yeah.
see about where I can get that over for everybody.
Sure thing. And then as far as the price difference between 1 and 2.0, that is definitely something to, connect with your client director on and they can go through the pricing and again, some of those differentiators for you as well. Most of the platform is unlimited assets, unlimited users. So the pricing's a little bit different in how it's structured. And then will 1.0 be phased out in favor of 2.0 or maintained as a separate product for a while? At this point in time, we are continuing to sell both 1.0 and 2.0. There is no plan for phasing out 1.0 at this time. So you're in no way being rushed off of your 1.0. And I want to make a note of this too when we talk about the migration pathway. Your migration pathway from 1.0 to 2.0, should you opt to move over to the new platform, is something that we're going to help you with. Like, we understand that you have put a lot of time and work into your 1.0 platform. So we want to do two things with that migration. First off, we want to make sure that we are helping you get everything over seamlessly and making sure that everything gets into your platform and you're still up and running without a problem. But the second piece is anytime we make a change like this, we want to make sure that we're evaluating what's working for you today and what isn't. So when we talk about your process, is there a place where we can lean up a little bit? Do we want to use some of the new enhancements that we have in 2.0 in a different way? Is there opportunities to maybe expand into other areas of your business now that we have some of these new features and the fact that we can separate modules out? These are all things and considerations that one of our product education specialists or an implementation specialist can work with you to help determine whenever you do decide to migrate from 1 to 2. Don't want you to feel like you're out on an island trying to do this all by yourself, folks. Promise we're not going to let you sit out there. Yep, and a few more requests for that PDF, Matthew. So, and then does migration change include change history of assets? So we would move all of your asset records over, and your history is something that will not be able to move over completely. Now, we can run reports. So obviously you can run change history reports. You have lots of exports that you can run. And again, that case by case, I would say we need to take a look at that as part of that migration pathway to see how we want to pull information over, but your history is not going to migrate directly over. It would be more from like a reporting standpoint. And it looks like we do have that PDF available. And let me go ahead and drop that into the chat as well, if in case anybody wants that.
I've answered a couple of people and just given the direct link too.
Yeah,
So
perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, we have a few more minutes. If anybody has any last minute burning questions, I think we've gotten through almost all of them here. But Asset Panda, like I said, 1.0, 2.0, they both obviously have their reasons for using that particular platform over the other one. But a lot of the new enhancements that we have in Asset Panda 2.0 are designed with all of you in mind. We have taken your feedback, we have listened to the feature suggestions that you have given, and we looked at it and said, hey, how can we start with something fresh and build this platform that's going to meet more of your needs? And that was the reasoning behind Asset Panda 2.0. So we have lots of really nice functionality pieces in the platform that really just start to kind of up the ante a little bit for how you can work smarter. That's our mantra here. How do you work smarter? That's our goal, is to help you work smarter with Asset Panda.
how do you work smarter? Asset Panda 2.0.
Yeah, there you go. So, well, folks, it looks like our questions have kind of died down just a little bit. We're going to be back in 4 weeks. So remember, you can drop in on one of those Panda pit stops. If you are a 1.0 customer still working in 1.0, please feel free to join us for one of our 1.0 power hours as well. We're always covering admin level tips and tricks, workflows, things like that. And we will be attacking those inspection workflows and audits over the next couple 2.0 power hour sessions. So stay tuned for some of those features because audits got a little bit of a facelift, and I think you guys are going to love the new audits and some of the features that we have in audits. And then forms, when we talk specifically about inspection workflows, I know a question that comes up all the time on actions is, can we have a question based on the previous answer? Like if I say no, then can this happen? And in 1.0, that's always been a limitation. And we changed that in 2.0. So our forms have those conditions that work really great with inspection workflows. And I can't wait to show you that on the next session. So Michael, or Matthew, I'm sorry, any closing words there? I was reading somebody's comment.
No, no. Thanks everybody for sticking with us today and allowing me to show you how to do some data importation. I think this would be a great way for everybody to get on board with 2.0 and really give it a whirl.
Oh, and somebody did ask if the sessions are going to be recorded. These sessions are recorded and they're all available on our website at assetpanda.com. So let me drop that link in here too, just so you have it for you. But if you go to the Asset Panda website and you go to the resources section under webinars, those 2.0 power hours, they go up, within a day or two of the session itself, but you're able to access them in from that location there. So I'm going to drop that in chat here real quick for you. So you have that link as well, so you can see the recording. Awesome. All right. Well, Matthew, I think we're done for the day.
Sounds good.
We will see you all in the next one.
All right, thanks everybody. Have a good afternoon, morning. Bye-bye.
Bye.